Hey everyone, welcome back to Loot Code. Today we'll be building something called Wordle. Wordle is a word guessing game. So basically how this works is we're going to have a list of words, 5-letter words in our case. So let's take a list, right? We'll have maybe 25 5-letter words. Okay, so our program will choose one random word. All right, so one random word using the random module, we'll do random dot choice, right? We'll use the random module to choose one word from this list, and then we'll probably store it in a variable random something, okay, is equal to this one word, right? So what happens is now our program has stored one word. Now the user has to guess what that word is. Okay, so we're going to have 6 attempts in this game. So the user will have 6 attempts to guess the secret word, which has been randomly selected from this list, right? So what happens is now the user inputs like some 5-letter word. 5-letter word has been input. Okay, let's ignore this W. Let's consider this is the 5-letter word that the user has input. Now we'll have a color code which will be given as feedback. Okay, the feedback is supposed to help the user to make a better or a smarter choice or a smarter guess in the second attempt, so that they get closer to the word that they're trying to guess. Okay, so in this ORDLE is what the user has guessed. So a green color code means that that particular letter in that word is in the right position. If it's an orange color, then it means that this letter D exists in the word, but it's not in the right position. And if it's a gray or a black color, it means that that particular letter does not exist in the word. So what we have to do is whatever word the user has input, okay, the user has input a word, let's say input, okay, user word, and this is the random word. We have to compare these two, and after every attempt we will send a color code as the feedback, and whatever based on that the user has to try and guess the correct word, right? So let's look at how to go about this. Okay, first let me demonstrate how the game is played. So let's play Wordle. So let me try and guess a 5-letter word, maybe peach. It says A is okay, I have 5 more attempts left, and A is a letter that's there in the word but it's not in the right position. So let me try PAECH. Okay, so A is in the second position. So if I think of a word with A in the second position, let's say okay, so the list has fruits in it. So okay, mango has A in the second letter. So if so mango is the right fruit that I guessed based on the feedback that the computer was giving me, right? So that's how this game is played, and let's see how to build it. So let's start to write the code for this project, right? So this is the algorithm. So we'll be following these steps to code our project. So let's go about it, right? So the first step is to import random. Let's import random. Okay, so then we will define a set of sample words, which we have done here, this is a list of words. Then define the isWord function. Okay, yeah, so this function compares the guessed word with the target word and provide feedback. Okay, so let's define this function, but let's get back to this later. Okay, so is word, it will take 2 parameters, which is user word and random word. Random word is the one that the computer will randomly select, right? So for now let's just return user word equals random word, because this is what it should do in the end, right? It will compare and return true or false. So we can come back to this function later. Let's look at the next step. Define as word. Okay, select a random word. All right, now random word is equal to random dot choice, and words was the list, right? Let's see what random word that our computer is guessing. Okay, so let's print and check this random word. So let's try to check what it's doing. Snake, right? It's going to choose a random word from this list. So let me run it again. Zebra. So that's what it's trying to do, right? Random.choice. Okay, we can go ahead, clear. The next step would be to, it says print a welcome message. Okay, we can do that. Print welcome, let's play Wordle. All right, now that's done. Step 6 would be to define congratulatory messages for successful guesses and set attempts to 6. Okay, so let's define a variable called messages, and I'll initialize a dictionary with 6 messages based on 6 attempts, right? So if the user guesses in his first attempt, then we'll say excellent or maybe marvelous. And because we have 0 indexing in Python, I'll be using 0 here. So this is for the first attempt. If he gets it right in the second attempt, then we can go ahead and say excellent. Third attempt would be very good. Fourth attempt would be just good. Fifth attempt could be nice. And the final attempt can be okay. Right? Now let's also initialize a variable called attempts to 0. So till now we have defined a list of words. We've imported random, then we have defined a list of words, then we have defined a function which is going to basically compare these two and give a feedback to the user based on the input. Then we have used the random modules method choice, which is random.choice, to select one word and store it in this random word. We can remove this, or let me just comment it out for now. Then we have given a welcome message, and then this is for when we guess the right words. Okay, so next, what does it say? Next it says start a game loop that runs while attempts are greater than 0. Yeah, so basically what I'm doing here is attempt is equal to 0, and we'll run a while loop while attempts less than 6. The instruction says the opposite. It says set attempts to 6, and then while attempts is greater than 0. It's basically the same thing. Okay, while attempts less than 6. Yeah, sorry, just a second. Delete. Okay, while attempts is less than 6, we will take input from the user. Let's say user word is equal to input \n enter a word, or let's be more specific, a 5-letter word. And let's also use this method called .lower to not have any bias, right? If you observe, all the words here have lowercase alphabets, so we don't want somebody to input capital C in crane and it's not being recognized, right? So we'll do a .lower on the user word, and now we'll write a condition, right? So if the length of user word, okay, so basically this step is, let's go back here first. Yeah, this was the step: prompt the user to enter a 5-letter word, which we've done. We prompted the user to enter a 5-letter word. Then we have to validate the input and call the isWord function if valid. So first, how do we validate the input, right? So if the input is what if I input a 3-letter word? So I don't want my attempts, I don't want to lose an attempt just because I entered a 3-letter word, right? So we are going to increment this attempts variable only if the length of the user word is equal to 5 and user word dot is alpha is true. So what if I enter maybe numbers instead of letters? I don't want to lose attempts just because I entered numbers. So that's what this if condition is handling, and we will increment attempts here. Attempts plus equals 1. Let's also print the attempts, right? So we can do print we can tell the user, right, you have these many number of inputs left. Attempts. Number of attempts left is equal to, because we have 6 attempts, it's going to be 6 minus attempts, right? So let's try till here. Let me try to run the code till here. So we are getting this welcome message, and it's asking me to input a 5-letter word. So let me input eagle, right? So now the number of attempts is 5. Now let's say apple. Number of attempts left is 4. Maybe guava. Number of attempts left is 3. And let me just 5 letters. Number of attempts left is 2. Number of attempts left is 1. Yeah, is that 5 letters? That's 5 letters. Number of attempts left is 0, and we are exiting. So our while loop is working fine. All right, so it's good until now. Let's see what the next step is going to be. It says we have to call the isWord function. So here we have to call the isWord function. Let me write a condition here. So if isWord, because isWord will return a true or a false value, a boolean value, and what do I want to do with that boolean value, right? So let's see what I want to do with that boolean value. So while calling the function, I will pass the user word and the random word, and yeah, so based on the number of attempts, I want to print message. This is going to be the congratulatory message, right? So messages of attempts minus 1. Okay, so this is going to be a minus 1 because after the first attempt, right, this would have incremented to 0. Attempts would have incremented to 0 here, where my cursor is at, right? So attempts would have become 1 here, and I want my message to be marvelous if I guessed it on my first attempt. So this would be 1 minus 1, that is messages of 0. So it will access this particular key in my dictionary and give me this value, marvelous. So that's why we're doing attempts minus 1. And I want to write an else statement here. Else is for this if block. So else, if it is not, if the user word does not have 5 letters, or it has more or less than 5 letters, and if it is maybe a numeric value, then I will print enter a valid 5-letter word. Okay, and maybe in the end I'll print game over. Yeah, the correct word was random word, right? So here I can also mention you won, if, because this is going to show anyway. This is going to show if even if I guess it right in the 6 attempts or not guess it right in the 6 attempts. So this would be an additional message saying that you won. Okay, so let's get back to our feedback now, right? Because we have to provide feedback to the user every time they input something. We just cannot let this be, right? Because how else will they guess the word? So let's get back to our function, which is isWord, this function right here. So first I will run a for loop for x in user word. Delete this. Okay, so for x in user word, what I'm trying to do is I'll print the user word with a little space right after an attempt has been made, right? So let's print x and then end with an empty string. So the print statement in Python by default, goes to the next line. So I don't want to go to the next line. I want to end with an empty string, and then I want a new line. So just print. So how do I test this now? Will I be able to, will this throw me errors? Enter a 5-letter word. Let me say eagle. Yes, so this is how I want it. So this is what I wanted to do with that for loop. Yeah, I can exit this, Control C, CLS. Okay, let's go back here. So now we are splitting that word in, like basically we're giving it some space so that we can see what's happening and give some color code below it. The next step would be I would initialize a variable called feedback, and this would be a list of the black color code, Control C, Control V, and I'll multiply it with the length of user word. Okay, let's see what has happened to feedback. I will print feedback and just print feedback. Okay, so let's come down to the terminal, enter a 5-letter word, eagle. So this is how it's showing me, right? It's a list of color codes. All right, I don't want the list to be seen, so what I'll do here, instead of print feedback, for f in feedback, print f and end with an empty string, and then give me a new line. This should be better. So let me clear this and run again. Eagle. Yes, so this is how I want my color code. Okay, so we can continue with our feedback. So next I will initialize a variable called random word remaining. This will be a list of alphabets from the random word. Okay, let me show you what I'm trying to do. Random, let me print the random word remaining. So if I run the code now, let's say eagle, right? Am I printing the random word remaining? Is it being printed? Let me exit, clear, and if I run this now, eagle. Okay, so yeah, the random word remaining is being shown as a list of single alphabets, right? Now broom is the word that our random module, random.choice selected from the list of words. We will not be showing this in the output, but we will be using this list to do our color coding. Okay, so when we go to the further steps, you will be able to understand. So let's exit the execution, clear, and let's get back to the code. Okay, now I will run 2 loops. Okay, I will call the first one as first pass. This is to check if the letter is in the correct position. Check if it is a correct letter in the correct position. Okay, so this is when we are going to color code it with green, if it's in the correct position and it's a correct letter in the word. So for I in range length of user word, if user word of I is equal to random word of I, if it's matching, if it's in the same position as the random word, the letter of the random word, then feedback is equal to, no, feedback of I, only that black color will change to the green color code. And now what we're going to do, we're going to do random word remaining of that particular index equal to null. None. Okay, yeah, none is the right word. So what this does, this step would basically mean that when I'm going to the second pass to assign a yellow color to a letter which is there in the word but not in the right position, it would not map it again, or it would not code it again, because it's already been coded green, color coded green in that particular pass, right? So we can print this and check. Random word remaining dot I. Let's print. I'm not sure if this will work, but let's try random word remaining. This is just to see what's happening with the random word remaining list. Enter a 5-letter word. Let's say eagle. Eagle, cloud. Did it get saved? Control C. CLS. Okay, I need to know what word is there so that I can manipulate it to show you guys in a way. Okay, let me rerun this. Okay, let's CLS rerun. Okay, so cloud is the word that we are trying to guess. Okay, enter a 5-letter word. I will do CLUUU. All right. So now if you observe, C has become none, L has become none, and the second U, this U has become none. So when it goes to the second pass, the ones that are already coded green would, I mean, we can pass, like we can just ignore it and not even consider it to code it yellow, right? So that's what we're trying to do. I will remove this, and also let's comment this out. We'll exit the execution. Sorry, Control C, CLS, CLS. Okay, let's get back to the code. Now I'll have a second pass. This will check if it is a correct letter in the wrong position. So for I in range length of user word, if, okay, now my condition would be if feedback equals the black color and the user word of I is in the word of I in the random word remaining is true. So this condition is that now we saw that there are green colors being marked, right? There were also red, I mean, there was also black color coding which was there. So now if this black color code exists, and if that user of I letter is in the random word remaining, which was the list that I showed by printing, if this letter exists in that list, then we will color code that letter with yellow or orange. Yeah, orange. And we also have to take care of one more thing. We have to make the other letters in this random word remaining none. So I would do random word remaining of random word remaining dot index of user word of I. So user word of I is the letter itself. So the index of that letter we are trying to access. Say it's the first index, then 0, 1. We will access the first index of the list, which is the random word remaining, and then we will assign it to none. So that's what we're trying to do here. And then we can print the feedback and then return the user word. So let me try to run the code. Let's see, I think this should do it. Enter a 5-letter word. Let's say eagle. We are still printing this list. I don't want to print this list. So why is this list coming here? Okay, so feedback of I, right? Okay, let's go again, snake. Yeah, I don't want this list. Okay, let's try to remove this. let's remove this, and now let's control C. Let me clear this. I'll also remove this because I want to know what I'm doing here, so that I can demonstrate well. Let me run the code. I think this should do it. Okay, so I have so let me run the code. So the word that the computer chose was dream. Okay, so let me try something, say snake. Okay, so number of attempts left is equal to 5. It shows okay, the problem here is A and E are in dream, but it still shows black, so there's some problem in this second pass, which is a feedback, right? Okay, so we are not trying to look at the list, right? We're just looking at a particular letter. Yeah, so this should do it. Enter the let's restart CLS, let me run it again. A zebra is the word. This is the computer choosing. This will not be visible to the user when playing it. This is just for me to demonstrate better. So enter a 5-letter word. Let's say snake again. So A, which is the third letter, is in the word. E is also in the word, so it shows yellow, yellow. S, N, and K are not in the word, so it shows black. So now let's try misspelling zebra. Z-E-R-B-A. And if you observe here, R and B, if we just swap these two letters, we'll have the correct word. So if I do zebra now, it says very good, you have won, but we're encountering another problem. It says enter a 5-letter word again. So yeah, the problem is I wouldn't have added a break word here, keyword. Okay, yeah, so this should solve that problem. Control C, CLS. So broom is the word. Let me just do broom over here. Number of attempts left 5. Broom, marvelous, because I finished it in the first attempt, so it's working fine. So we've successfully built a Wordle game. We can test it again with maybe another word. So peach is the word, so I will try to first guess guava. So A is there, so it's showing a green color under A. Next I will do apple. So P exists, E exists, and A exists. So we have orange color code, which means that we have 3 letters in the word but in the wrong place. Now let me show you, if I misspell the word, it'll show orange because it's not in the right place. And then if I guess the word, it says good, I won, because I have 2 more attempts left, and that's what it's supposed to show when I have when I'm done with 4 attempts. So we've successfully built the Wordle game. I hope you enjoyed building this small project with me. If you did so, please hit the subscribe button and also give me a thumbs up. Keep learning, keep coding. Goodbye.